The great gobbling has begun. And what the hell do I mean by the great gobbling? Well, the great gobbling up of XRP. Today we have an announcement that $1 billion has been raised in regards to proceeds, gross proceeds, by a company called Evernorth. And they are majority going to use those proceeds to purchase XRP on the open market. And Evernorth isn't just another DAT, it potentially is the XRP DAT, the main one, the MicroStrategy to Bitcoin. Evernorth may be to XRP. And actually we know where David Schwartz is heading after he moves on from Ripple. He's going to be an advisor to this company. We also have backing from the likes of Chris Larson, SBI Holdings, so on and so forth. So this is going to be an interesting video. We're going to be explaining what's happening, what the announcement is, who's announced it, what's going to take place. They're going to obviously look to, I think, leverage DeFi for XRP and its ecosystem to increase XRP per share. That's their kind of goal. And we'll relate this to a kind of great gobbling that's taking place. And I might finish things off on a little bit of price action. John Bollinger, the founder of the Bollinger Bands, highlighting Sol and Ethereum based on a W double bottom, and also it's applicable to XRP, which we think is literally on the cusp of price discovery. And, a great time. And really, I do feel very sorry for people that got liquidated in the events that took place, not the Friday just gone, but the prior one. For me, it was just a great retail shakeout. And actually, if you look at CoinShares report that came out this morning, they track fund flows. Again, via ETPs and exchange-traded products, XRP continues to get gobbled up. And I think we'll also talk about how there is only today $3.3 billion or billion XRP on exchanges. This is about $6 billion. Well, $1 billion of that may get gobbled up by this one company alone, let alone all the ETFs and things like that. This is the great gobbling. It's quite a funny name as well that is taking place. Let's dive into this. So here we have the man, the myth, and the legend himself, Mr. Brad Garlinghouse. He was introduced to crypto by Peter Thiel, by the way. He's told that story at a kind of closed meeting with very smart individuals. And of course, Thiel was one of the early backers of OpenCoin, which became Ripple. And I think ultimately XRP's role in the global financial system has been planned, embedded for a hell of a long time, and the public don't quite know about it. We've done lots of content on that really cool XRP video coming out for you guys tomorrow involving IMF documents that look at it as a C currency to facilitate A and B. That's a cool sort of video that will be dropping tomorrow. Let's zoom in here so you can read along with me. Sheesh! And team are building something special with Evernorth XRP. And they're calling themselves the largest public XRP treasury company. This is the MicroStrategy to Bitcoin. Evernorth is setting itself up to be the XRP. And it's going to be interesting. People will probably want to get on board with this, given who's backing it in terms of, potentially purchasing the stock and what they may do with it. We'll look at all that. We are proud to partner with him and proud to join an incredible set of investors, including SBI Holdings, Pantera Capital, Kraken, GSR, and Rippleworks to support Evernorth as it participates in institutional lending, liquidity provisions, and DeFi yield opportunities for XRP. Now, if XRP becomes the bridge asset, currency C that enables A and B, as the IMF would call it, there's going to have to be a market that facilitates that. And this could be part of that. This is a concept we can really explore. I honestly think that most people that talk about XRP on the internet don't actually understand it. They're comparing it to other DLTs and what they're trying to do. XRP is truly unique in regards to implementing a digital asset, which they have a patent on, to facilitate global Forex transactions, at least initially, but more broadly, value transactions. This is from Ashish. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Ashish Burla, who is the CEO. I'm proud to share that we have launched Evernorth XRP, a first of its kind institutional vehicle built to accelerate XRP adoption with over a decade of uptime and rapidly growing DeFi ecosystem. XRP is well positioned for adoption, and Evernorth is built to meet that moment. Evernorth to go public with over $1 billion of gross proceeds. Let's dive over to the official sort of PR newswire. Before we do that, David Schwartz chiming in on this. Of course, he is going to be leaving Ripple, but still involved with the XRP community and XRP in some way, and probably the company as an advisor. He says, XRP community, I promise I'd have an update on my next venture soon, right? Well, here's the start. I'll be a strategic advisor to Evernorth's XRP, helmed by my friend Ashish. Evernorth was founded as a regulated, scalable investment vehicle to tap into opportunities for XRP in DeFi and capital markets, extending the entire XRP ecosystem. I'm excited to get started. Of course, Evernorth is a purpose-built digital asset, a DAT treasury, that gives investors exposure to tomorrow's markets. Pretty cool. We'll look at this in more detail. Let's go over the official newswire. This is from San Francisco. San Fran. Evernorth Holdings Incorporated, a newly formed NVIDIA corporation, Evernorth, that will enable XRP adoption on an institutional scale, today announced its public launch and the execution of a business combination agreement with Armada Acquisition Corp, a publicly traded special purpose acquisition company. Upon closing of the transaction, the combined company will operate under the Evernorth name and is expected to trade on the NASDAQ under the ticker symbol XRPM, subject to the satisfaction of the listing requirements. The transaction is expected to raise over $1 billion in gross proceeds, including $200 million from SBI, and additional investment from Ripple. Ripple Works, an independent charitable foundation supporting social impact ventures globally, and leading digital asset and fintech leaders and innovators, including Pantera Capital, Kraken, GSR, and participants from Ripple, the co-founder, Chris Larson, who I think is a genius that doesn't get spoken about enough, amongst others. Net proceeds will primarily fund open market purchases of XRP to build the world's leading institutional XRP treasury, with a portion allocated to working capital, general corporate purposes, and transaction expenses. Evernorth, a first of its kind treasury vehicle. I'm saying it the American way, vehicle. It's vehicle. Evernorth is designed to provide investors with a simple, liquid, and transparent exposure to XRP through a public listed vehicle. Unlike a passive ETF, Evernorth seeks to grow XRP per share over time by participating in institutional lending, liquidity providing or provisioning, which is, again, the concept of XRP being a kind of on-demand liquidity and a market, as it were, to facilitate global remittances, and DeFi, decentralized finance, yield opportunities. XRP presents a compelling opportunity as one of the few digital assets with a recognized regulatory framework in the US and a proven use case in powering global payments. With over a decade of uptime, deep liquidity, and growing DeFi ecosystem, XRP is uniquely positioned for growth and broader institutional adoption. Evernorth's model is built to harness this moment, offering investors not only exposure to XRP's price, but also the upside of activity or an active treasury growth and ecosystem participation. Evernorth is built to provide investors more than just exposure to XRP's price, said Ashish, CEO of Evernorth. As we capitalize on existing TradFi yield generation strategies and deploy into DeFi yield opportunities, we also contribute to the growth and maturity of that ecosystem. This approach is designed to generate returns for shareholders while supporting XRP's utility and adoption. It's a symbiotic model. Our strategy is designed to align with the growth of XRP and its ecosystem. This is really cool. Talks about the leadership and governance. We're going to spend some time on this because I want you guys to be familiar with what's taking place. Evernorth is led by Chief Executive Officer Ashish Birla, who brings deep experience at the intersection of digital assets and global payments. Ashish previously served as senior executive at Ripple, where he was instrumental in bringing and scaling the company's cross-border payment business into one of the world's most widely used blockchain-based financial service platforms. His background is both traditional finance services and crypto native innovation, positioning him to guide Evernorth as it becomes the leading institutional vehicle for XRP. There'll be something there with Evernorth in terms of the name. I'm sure people will look into that. Alongside Burla is Chief Financial Officer Matthew Frymere, Chief Operating Officer Meg Nakamura, Chief Legal Officer Jessica Jonas, and Chief Business Officer Sagar Shah, who together bring extensive capital markets and financial management expertise to the leadership team. The company maintains independent governance. Ripple, the leading provider of digital asset infrastructure for the enterprise, is a strategic investor, and Ripple's executive, Brad Garlinghouse, Stuart Aldaltry, and David Schwartz are expected to serve as strategic advisors, supporting alignment with XRP's ecosystem while ensuring operational independence. Ripple has long championed XRP for its utility. It's its secret sauce, as it were, as a global asset for the efficient settlement of payments around the world. Evernorth is deeply aligned with that mission, bringing more use cases, participation, and confidence to the XRP ecosystem, said Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple. Having worked alongside Ashish for many years, I'm fully confident in his and the team's ability to take XRP's presence in capital markets to the next level with Evernorth. Transaction details. The transactions, which has been unanimously approved by the board of directors of both companies, is expected to close in Q1 2026. So we've got a while to wait for this, a couple of months, subject to customary closing conditions and shareholder approval. In addition to its vision to build one of the largest institutional XRP treasuries in the world, Evernorth plans to deploy resources towards advancing the XRP ecosystem more broadly. That includes validator participation and network security, operating XRP validators to strengthen the resilience and decentralization of the ledger, DeFi integrations, leveraging Ripple's RLUSD stablecoin as a on-ramp into XRP-based decentralized finance, enabling yield opportunities and broader adoption of XRP as collateral, market development, providing liquidity and participating in projects that expand XRP's real-world utility across payments, capital markets, and tokenized assets. Evernorth's strategy is designed not only to accumulate XRP as a reserve asset, but to also act as a long-term catalyst for adoption and institutionalization of the XRP ledger. In connection with the closing of the transaction, each Class A share of Armada 2 that has not been redeemed for cash in accordance with the terms of organizational documents will convert to Class A shares of Evernorth on a one-to-one basis. Do Armada have a share? They do. I don't know if this is it though. I'm not going to go down this route of looking into the potential Armada shares currently, just in case it's not the right thing and people end up buying something they shouldn't be. Wait for official channels, guys. The advisors, City Global Markets Incorporated. Wow, the same people at debanked Brad Garlinghouse. What a 180. Serve as a sole private placement agent and is serving as a capital market advisor to Evernorth. Cohen and Company Capital Markets, a division of Cohen and Company Securities LLC, and Northland Securities Incorporated, are serving as financial advisors and capital market advisors to Armada Acquisition Corp. 2. Davis, Polk, and Wardwell are legal advisors, so on and so forth. Got Ripple on the council. About Evernorth. At closing, Evernorth will publicly trade digital asset treasuries that provide investors with exposure to XRP through a regulatory or regulated liquid and transparent structuring. Unlike ETFs, Evernorth intends to actively grow the XRP shares. So this is going to be essentially something that you want to... this potentially is going to outperform ETFs, is basically what they're saying by that. It talks about the parties involved and where you can find out additional information. This is pretty huge. Again, these guys are literally the MicroStrategy to Bitcoin. These guys are to XRP. And I'm going to keep you guys up to date on all of this as humanly possible, hence why we dropped this video. I was going to get into some price action. I'm probably not going to, but when I started the video off with the great gobbling, this is really what's taking place. This is just one XRP DAT. It's going to be the XRP DAT, I believe, based on who's involved with it, including David Schwartz. You know, this is where he's essentially heading. But if you look at the amount of XRP on exchanges right now, it's 3.3 billion. That equates with an XRP price of $2.40 to, what is that? $7.5 billion, just under. 1 billion of that is getting gobbled up pretty much straight away, or a large part of that $1 billion. That's one, let alone the ETFs, let alone other DATs, let alone retail sort of demand. I think you've got this great supply and demand shock for XRP, and I still actually think, or firmly believe, $19.27 is on the cards. I think that can happen in a very short succession of time. That's just my own opinion. I was going to talk about what John Bollinger was highlighting for ETH and Sol. He's effectively highlighting a double bottom. The last time he did this, Bitcoin shot from 79k, or he highlighted one of these for Bitcoin, it shot from 79k to 120. If we just throw your Bollinger Bands on there very quickly, you know, XRP very much has, if you look at the daily time frame, a similar thing to what he's suggesting. This double bottom here for Ethereum and Solana. Also, this is really just a flag-like structure. Guys, you will absolutely smash through this resistance that you currently held under. This is 2007's big key level resistance. It's a matter of time, and fundamentally, there's lots of great things happening. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it from me. I want to know your thoughts on this news in the comment section. On that note, I'm going to see you in the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. See you all soon.